life.
I have no idea what the first word was that everyone heard in that, though.
As long as it wasn't the bit about the food eating.
Maybe.
Nom nom.
Nom nom. Welcome to the second episode of the Hallowed Penumbra, our Call of Cthulhu actual play. I have some fantastic players with me here tonight. You would have seen them playing last week even, so you get to see them again. It's a little treat. If you're here for historical accuracy in a classic Call of Cthulhu era, sorry, my name's Talera79 and I am not in my historical accuracy era. I am in fact in my I will do what I want era, including, well, we'll see later where that goes. But I will throw over to the players. Firstly, a wonderful character, Bonnie Doyle.
Oh, you. So my name is Katrina. I'm playing Bonnie Doyle tonight. I am a union activist, and a suffragette, and I look forward to our part two. And I'm going to throw to, I'll probably throw to Evie.
I was changing my name on the call. So, hi, I'm Shadowbear. I'm playing Evie Ward, and that's all you need to know. I will hand over
Woman of
to.
mystery.
Don't come looking for me. I'll hand over to Andy.
Thank you. I am Andy, and you can find me in many, many places under the name Andy SPG. I'm playing Finley Robertson. He's a bit rough, gruff, tumble, doesn't really care too much for people. Might get him in some trouble, might fix some problems. Who knows? We'll see how he goes with this bunch of forward thinkers. And I shall pass it over to Promethean. It's got a 0 in it.
It does. Hey, thanks for doing half of my intro for me. I appreciate it. I'm that guy, and here this evening, I am Florence Blue, who is in her forgetful old lady era, because I don't have my notes from last session, so that will be her entire personality. The end.
Now, if people are wanting to know what happened last session, we've had a player volunteer off screen to provide us a player recap. They are also able, if they so choose, to present the theories that their character has about what is going on. And I will hand over to Andy.
So the group in general, we've been employed to try and find the idol of Thoth. There was speakings of things of newt, of penguins running amok, but we have been told we need to find this missing idol by 5 p.m. We have been out and about in many different places, driving the car here and there. Ended up finding some pretty important people. Particularly, we're trying to find someone called Clarence, who we believe was the last person in the room before the idol went missing. We're looking for a Mr. Gray who was in contact with Clarence, and we just pulled up, or we were about to pull up to, I believe it was Vincent's house in our car, and we left on a bit of a cliffhanger where it was like, and out of the car window, you see, and then we ended right there. Finley's thinking there's something kind of going on with Clarence. Maybe he's been employed by the Mr. Vincent to kind of sneak it out. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know what everyone else is thinking right now, but that's what Finley's thinking.
I'll tell you what Bonnie's thinking. Bonnie has been denied the right to drive the vehicle on 2 occasions, and she's pretty angry at this point.
Florence isn't really thinking because she's having a little nap.
I'm convinced. Evie is convinced it's Clarence Butterworth.
Well, before I tell you what you see out the window, I will help set a little bit of a scene. It takes half an hour to drive from the sanatorium to the Grey residence. You're travelling along a little used, winding road through the backwaters of Arkham to get there. Around you, the weather has turned. And as you squint through the torrential rain, the car's pale lamplights are barely revealing the road ahead. And you wonder, what are you driving into? And is this the last journey you will ever make? And then you see some lights behind you. Barely. And you realize a car is following you, despite how little this road would have been used normally.
Right. Everybody,
Hmm.
I believe there's lights following us.
Hey,
Yeah,
you've seen flashes.
there's another vehicle behind us. Do we stop or do we drive faster? Or do we
I'm
shoot
gonna.
off into the bushes and see if we can't do that thing where the car goes past and not sees us? What is that called? That thing.
I would
Hide?
suggest if the car is supposed to be on the road, it should stay on the road, and we just keep going.
Okay.
If we keep this speed, we'll tell if they're getting closer. It's fine. I think I can barely see where I'm going anyway. I'm just gonna try and keep on this road.
At the current speed.
Aye.
All right.
So,
I'm sorry, young man. Did you just say you can barely see and you're currently responsible for our lives on the
I
road?
told you I should have drove.
Look out the window.
so 5 minutes later, the car is still at the same distance behind you, and you are about 10 minutes away from Professor Gray's house. So if you are going to choose to try and lose the tail, if it's a tail, you don't know if it's a tail. They aren't getting closer.
Hey,
But if you're choosing
Bonnie,
to lose them, now would be the time.
Bonnie, can you see anywhere? You sure they're following us? It's not just.
Well, they're not getting any faster. They've stayed the same speed behind us. They're the same distance behind. Um, I mean, uh, has anyone been to this house before? Do we know this area of Arkham?
So because of characters' backgrounds, Evie would be the most familiar with the back roads of Arkham. Andy would have, Finlay would have, and Bonnie would also have some experience because not everything was had a large urban density at that time. So a lot of your larger residences, especially if they were inherited through families, were on the outskirts of town or a little bit further out of town because of the property size that would have been attached to it.
Are we talking rolling hill farmland or bush and trees?
Kind of a mixture of both. So with Massachusetts, this time of year, it's cold, so there's not a lot of vegetation around, but it's not rolling green like the English hills that you're used to, Bonnie.
What color is our vehicle? If we were to drive into the shrubbage, is it possible for us to stay hidden, or are we a bright red? Quickly, I'm gonna unwind the window and check it.
Here's where I say, who has the lowest current luck score? What is everyone's current luck at?
I feel like there's only one player that burned a shit ton of luck in last session. I'm pretty
Mine
sure.
is at 55.
I didn't burn any luck. I was going to, but it was advised against. I'm at 6.
47.
I cannot even find mine on the sheet, but I'll let you know.
I don't like how the keeper's face started thinking when you said 47.
Right.
I was warned.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 65.
Okay. Evie, can you give me a luck roll? Let's see if the dice are with you today and what color this car may be.
So it's just the D10.
Yep, so you roll the
and then
same as you do.
Do I have to get 47 or
So it's the
lower?
same as any other luck skill.
Okay.
Any other, skill roll.
Okay, cool. 78.
Oh, that's good.
Is that
Yeah.
good?
Your car is quite bright.
Oh no, it's red.
Ah,
It's
that's
fire
not good.
engine red, isn't it?
It is probably fire engine red. It's one of the newest, trendiest colors off the manufacturing floor.
Aw.
You do have the benefit that because it is quite torrential outside, that does give some cover.
All right. We're not going to be able to hide. I
You
think
sure? It's that fog is thick out there.
look, okay, I think we've got a few things going for us. There's four of us. We're about 10 minutes out from the house. I think we get to we're going to the professor's house, right? We get to the professor's house. Professor's house?
Yes.
Yes. And then we've got 10 minutes, I guess, to decide. Or no, we're 10 minutes away. We've probably got a minute to ditch the car and run either inside the house or into the yard. I think that's what probably I would to do. What about you lot?
Well, I think probably seeing that they've tailed us so long in a back street, I'm just kind of looking around to see if there's a nod for maybe flooring it.
Floor it.
Yeah.
Floor it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Anything? I'm gonna need extra eyes on the road. Just scream if you see something.
Okay.
keep
So
going, just keep following the road straight, and then there's a slight left turn. You'll be okay.
It's like, right, okay, gotcha.
Finn, I will get you to give me a drive roll, please,
Oh dear.
because you are speeding up in not very good weather.
How does a 99 sound?
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no.
We're doing 99 miles per hour.
Oh.
The
Oh,
speedometers in
no.
1920 don't even go there.
I
Yeah.
think
Okay, but we
Finn
did it anyway.
Have seatbelts
has
been invented
fallen
yet?
into a coma at the wheel. I'm going to grab the wheel.
Yeah, but the roll's been made, Bonnie.
How much luck did you say you had?
It's 60 luck. How much luck do we need?
You would just need to bring it below 95.
All right, I'll burn
Or
5.
actually, no, you can't because it's a fumble.
Oh, I even put some extra points in driving and everything for this.
Well, you can because due to my house rule, because you fumbled it, you actually get to endorse the box because you learn from your mistakes.
Well, assuming
Don't
you
floor it when
survive
it's
this
super
one.
foggy.
So you decide you're going to drive a little bit faster there, Finn. But you do keep the fact that the weather has deteriorated in mind and that you're not as familiar with the road. However, you do end up driving the car off the road.
Okay.
The tire punctures, and you now are all in a car on the side of the road, uninjured but with a flat tire.
What ridiculous.
Christ,
Scrubbage?
fuck.
The car that was behind you seems to have disappeared.
Do you think maybe we can wave down that car that was behind us and ask them for a ride?
It's not there anymore. In the whole panic that you guys underwent when this car was going off the road and potentially losing control, you've lost sight of the vehicle that was following you, and it's not there anymore.
Oh dear.
We were trying to lose them.
We did. I have a question. Do we continue to drive there even though the wheel has blown and we're driving on or the tire is blown and we're driving on the wheel, or do we walk? We have kind of a time.
You do have another tire if you choose to change it, but it will eat into your time. But remembering, you only get the bonus for getting back before 5 if you have the idol with you.
All right, time check.
So it would be about 1:45 currently.
I'd say it's time to replace the tire on this car.
We can
Well,
replace the
yes.
tire.
I did pack a tire repair kit just in case. It's in the boot.
Yeah, he
Someone
actually
give me a
did.
hand.
Yeah, he actually did. He thought of this. Just put that
Fantastic.
there.
Wow.
Well, let's do that together.
I'm a driver at heart. Would you have thought of that, Bonnie? I just asking.
I'm down with tire change.
Right.
All right. It will
I'm
involve
gonna
everyone
help.
getting out of the vehicle, though.
Do
I know.
you need us? Do you need Miss Florence and I to get out of the car, or
Out in the rain.
do we need to? Are you okay to change the tire? I don't know how to change a tire, so I'm asking.
I think we do. I don't know if jacks were a thing back then. I'm not entirely sure.
Well, I mean, see how you go. 'Cause the weather is
Florence.
terrible, so maybe we'll just stay in the car. But let us know if you do
Right.
need us to get
I'm
out.
happy
I
to go
suddenly
out.
feel my heart fluttering. I'm afraid I'll have to stay seated right here.
All right, I'm happy
Florence
to go
got a
outside.
cane I can borrow to just like jack the car up a little bit.
Now, do we have any kind of help me out here, torches or lanterns or
So there's still enough visibility. So it's overcast, but it's middle of the afternoon effectively.
let's of course it is. Of course it
Yeah.
is. It's not nighttime.
Mhm.
All right, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm happy. I'll
right.
put the hat off.
Yep.
Let's go. All right, we're outside changing a
Just go.
tire.
Mhm.
Do you need us to roll anything?
I'm just wondering whether I do that and risk you rolling another fumble.
Do it.
What would you use for auto or tire changing? Would that be mechanical repair?
So I had thought of mechanical repair. Mechanical repair is a little bit more sort of engine focused, but it is probably the closest one to what you're currently doing.
Right, it's very, very low. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand behind you and bark directions. Is that okay?
Yeah, sounds good to me. Mine's
Okay.
also quite low. We'll give it a shot.
And that's because mechanical repair is more how the thing
Do I get
works,
any bonus
as
from
opposed to-
Bonnie shouting at me?
I will let you roll with advantage. So that is basically you have 2 of the 10 percentiles and you take the lowest of the 2
Yep.
along with your single digit roll.
Both of us?
No, just Finn.
Okay.
So just roll this.
Right, well, get the
this one
duvallaki out and
tw-
the hook
The double
thing
one twice.
Mm.
Yeah.
and the
Yep.
round thing.
Mhm.
I'll find some kind of stickage or rock to prop up the car with. I don't think we have jacks.
Okay, so
Ben. I'm not sure
double
they're a
0 and a
thing.
6,
A 0 and a 6.
a double 0 and a 6.
Yep. So that is you've rolled a 6. So what is your mechanical skill?
15. So it's not quite. It's not
But
quite.
it's still a hard
Actually, no, it's
success.
below 7. Yes, so it's
Yeah,
a
Still a hard
hard
success.
success.
So I will say
Yeah.
that you managed to change the tire quite smoothly with a minimal amount of time being wasted. You know what you're doing
Fantastic.
with your background and everything and the things that you've done here and there. You've patched up and done like odd handyman jobs for people and all sorts of stuff.
We did really well, Finn. Fist bump.
Yeah.
Ah.
So we'll say that with the whole experience, you've probably put yourself back 15 minutes.
That's good. That's good.
So it's
That's a great
Two-
outcome.
2
So-
p.m. by the time we're back on the road.
2 p.m.
So by the time you get to the professor's residence, it'll be 10 past 2.
All right.
Also, tire
Fun fact.
Head
card.
up.
Oh, did you
Get
look
serious.
it up? Go on.
Yeah, fun fact.
Do it.
1920s had screw jacks
Mhm.
Yeah.
Ah, excellent.
because Ford was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the
Mm.
device itself was a version of patented in 1859.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Fantastic.
Everyone's
Bonnie.
learning.
Mm.
Bonnie, you drive. I've done enough driving today.
All right, we'll just go at a normal pace.
Well, I mean, the car that you saw before, it's gone, so it probably wasn't following you at all. You were potentially just paranoid.
Brilliant. All right, to the professors. Let's go.
Or were you just paranoid?
No,
Is it
We all saw
paranoia
it,
in the
didn't we?
was?
We all saw that.
You all saw the car, but was it actually following you, or did it just happen to be behind you? Because it's not there anymore. Like, if it was following you, surely it would have ambushed you while you were all on the side of the road defenseless.
Maybe not. Maybe it saw us stop and it stopped too. But that's
Who knows?
possible.
Or maybe we careered off the road far enough that it lost track of us. Maybe.
Well,
Maybe.
I mean, you were distracted by the accident, so you don't know if it actually drove past or not.
Were we that distracted?
By car crash, possibly. Yeah.
Well, you could have gone into a
Right.
tree or anything, like,
Frankly, I feared for my life.
Mm.
All right.
I mean, you don't know.
You don't know.
Florence woke up screaming. It was terrifying.
I don't mean to laugh, Florence. I'm so sorry.
Yep,
It's sorry. Have my hands off the wheel then.
that's all right. So eventually you arrive at Grey Manor. It is obviously a property that has been inherited, but not necessarily kept up. So while the family was potentially quite prominent previously, it's become run down over time. It is now a manse of mouldering wood that kind of sits like, when you look at the landscape, the way the house now looks, it's almost like a broken tooth poking out of a gum. Like there's just, it doesn't hold the same effect that this property probably held 50 years ago. The timber that's been used to repair where things have come up is carelessly aligned. It doesn't necessarily match what the original timber style was. The property itself is 3 floors high and it has wooden shingles, but the shingles have become warped over time with the weather and the moisture that's in the Massachusetts air. The crumbling facade of the house is broken by lead-lined windows, which have become murky over time. No one's been cleaning the windows. And the property itself, because the effect of the moisture just seems very dark and uninviting, like the house itself doesn't want visitors almost. But through the trees, which when you look at them, the branches kind of look like fingers trying to grasp at things passing through them. And the eyes framed by these almost finger-like tendrils of branches just seem like eyes staring at you when you're standing outside the property. You see a single light shining out of one of the top floor windows, providing a small amount of flickering illumination given the overcast nature of the afternoon. Your car crunches over the gravel in the driveway. The wheels are skidding in the mud because the gravel has not been kept up.
Ooh.
And you come to a halt before the shadow-filled entrance of this house.
All right. Before I turn the engine off, should we park here or should I go back where we're going to get off the mud?
There is nowhere better to park. It's
Nowhere
either
else to
here or
park.
leave, basically.
All right.
This is where cars would be parked. And you can see that there is another car there. Because presumably Professor Gray had to have a car to get back and forth between the university and home.
We're on quite a short time frame. Do we just head for, we're talking 2 stories? Upstairs
There's
light?
3 stories, so
3 stories.
he's on the 3rd floor.
3rd floor. Do we head do we just head straight for that third floor? Knock.
It's generally polite to knock.
Of course, of course. We'll knock.
Before you knock, can I get each of you to roll me spot hidden and just tell me the results, please?
Oh, 23.
I got a 30, which is below my skill.
Yeah.
I got 11,
Scun through.
which is
We've got some regulars. I presume 11 is a hard success.
well, 10 is hard success. No, but it's super close.
Regular success for me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I rolled a 26 and is it medium or half is 27 for my spot hidden? So
Okay, but no one got an extreme success? No? Okay. So you go and knock on the door. And when you knock on the door, you are greeted by someone who is obviously a manservant. So despite the fact that the residence has not been kept up, he still has people that he employs as staff. The manservant, after you explain that you're there to see Professor Gray, explains that Professor Gray is actually unwell. He has to check whether or not he's ready to receive visitors at this time, and offers to bring you some refreshments while he goes and checks with Professor Gray about whether that he's willing to see you given his current state.
Well, what do you mean his current state exactly?
Oh, well, he had a heart attack 5 days ago.
Oh, that poor
Has-
man.
Has a doctor been out here?
He has returned from hospital. He is convalescing, but he is effectively bedridden until he improves.
what was the date 5 days ago?
So you are, I believe, is it the 6th or the 8th? Jeez.
I think we said the 6th.
I'm pretty
so
sure
it
we
would've
said
been
the 6th. Yeah.
Yeah, so 5 days ago would have been basically New Year's Day.
Doesn't match up.
Well, how much do you tell the butler to mention to Professor Gray as to why you want to speak with him?
Great
What is the
question.
reason you're giving for why you need to see this individual?
Sorry, who are we speaking to? What's your name?
Alfred.
Alfred. Very nice to meet you. How long have you worked here, Alfred?
I have worked for Mr. Gray for close to 20 years.
20 years. So you're probably a trusted companion, although we can't necessarily trust that he's telling us the truth. But anyway,
Well, you can do a psychology roll to see if you believe what he's saying.
yes, I would love to do that. A psychology. Let's give it a red hot go. No. However, it's super close. I got 66 and it's 56, so I'm gonna luck it up.
Oof.
Is that doable? Let's look it up.
That 10 points is a lot of points.
Oh, 10 points. I've got a lot of luck here. Go on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's.
So
We've already survived a car crash today. What could go wrong?
That's right. I'm still quite heightened. I'm feeling lucky.
So Alfred appears to be telling the truth. Like he's obviously concerned for his employer. Even though the state of the house is dilapidated, Professor Gray has kept this individual on, and having worked for Professor Gray for multiple decades, it's probably out of a sense of loyalty, where he's choosing to keep this person employed as opposed to spending money on the house. So you would presume that there would be quite a tight and loyal relationship between the two of them. And Alfred does seem very concerned about his master's health and whether or not even his master should be taking visitors.
Okay. Look, I think he's the real deal, everyone.
You're saying that while Alfred's there?
Yeah, well, listen, you sound like you are a concerned individual, Alfred, and I trust everything you've said there. But do we trust him enough to tell him?
Not necessarily very good at household maintenance, though.
Can I step forward and put my hand out for Alfred? And he can shake my hand. And I just would like to say, dearest Alfred, we really don't mean to take too much of Professor Gray's time. We just have an urgent message that we need to pass on from Mr. Hollister from the museum. We understand that he had some dealings with Professor Gray. We've just got an urgent message. We'll take up but 2 minutes of his time, and then we'll be on our way.
Okay.
We are, of course, required to acquire a response directly from Professor Gray, or we would just pass the message on to you.
I will get you to roll either a charm or a fast talk.
Okay.
Tell you what, you do one, I'll do the other.
Okay, I'm going to do charm because that's my bestest one.
Ooh.
So when you get 2 zeros and a 1,
Ooh.
You've rolled the lowest you can roll in the entire game.
Yeah.
and my extreme is 8.
So you get to tick that skill if you have not done so already.
Is that our first one roll of
That
the
is
whole
the
thing
first
as well?
one roll of the whole game, yeah. You've gotten below 5, but that's the first one.
Well done.
So Alfred ends up coming back down and said that basically Professor Gray seemed to almost perk up when he discovered you were from the museum. So he has asked if I could bring you to his chamber upstairs. I do wish to warn you that he does not look healthy. And if you are distressed by people who do look quite unwell, perhaps you would like to stay here. Should I just confirm how many of you are coming upstairs or staying here?
I'm happy to go up.
Yes. Happy to go.
I'll put an arm out for Florence to hold to get up the stairs.
Oh, thank you, sweet boy.
So Alfred will show you to Professor Vincent Gray's bedchamber. And you will see that Professor Gray looks quite old, but he also looks quite emaciated. So he will look older than what he actually is. And you already knew he was middle-aged, but just the infirmity and the nature of his health has aged him somewhat more. You can see that the linens, while at one time would have been white, are now yellowing. And the air is heavy from the moisture outside, but there's also a kind of a sickening smell underlying it, which is emanating from this room.
I think Florence will very politely raise a handkerchief to her nose, somewhat offended.
Is there a window to this room, or can you describe the room further?
So the room is a fairly basic sort of bed chamber, but the problem is that with it being on the 3rd floor, there's no real awnings or anything that are intact on the windows. So if you're opening the window, not only are you letting a bunch of damp air into a room where someone is obviously unwell, but you're potentially letting the rain in as well.
We'll just hold the door open. Do you need to know where we're standing in the room?
It is up to you if you stand closer to him or further back to the door.
All right. I'm happy to step forward closer.
Okay. I'm not going to make you do a Constitution saving throw. It is fine. This is the type of smell that occurs when someone has been basically cooped up in a room for an extended period of time and is quite unwell.
Right.
So there has been no opportunity to air it out. Plus, you know that the house itself is not in the best state and the wood is somewhat moisture impacted, which would affect things as well. But Professor Gray does not seem healthy. And he does not seem like he should be taking any visitors, yet he has agreed to see you. And you understand, having done that successful psychology role with Alfred, that why Alfred was so concerned about the idea that he be taking visitors.
Does anyone want to step forward and address him?
Oh,
Finley's just going to hang about the door for a little bit. Yeah.
I'm
just gonna-
already staring death in the face. I have no intention of speaking to that corpse.
It is I then. I guess Evie.
Um,
I'm just going to glance at you and just go.
I'll step a little bit closer.
Mhm.
So, Professor Gray?
Yes, you're from the museum.
Yes, from the museum. We just wanted to ask a quick question, but also just to pass on, I guess, some news about the exhibit. I'm assuming that you know what exhibit I'm talking about. Could you tell us when was the last time you saw Clarence Butterworth?
I have not seen him since the last time I went to the museum, which was before I became so unwell.
Was that anywhere between the 7th and 8th of December?
No, it would have been after that and prior to my infirmity.
I'm very sorry to hear that you've been sick for so long.
However, you are looking exceptionally well, right, everyone? I do have a question, Professor. You are. Did you have anything to do with the setup of the latest exhibition at the museum?
No, I was trying to acquire certain items for people's safety, but I was not involved in the setting up the exhibition. You can see that while there's a level of his cognitive functioning is still right there because he's trying to keep focus, that occasionally it's almost like a rack of pain goes through him and distracts him from what he's trying to say.
Is there any water next to him?
No.
Alfred, perhaps you could get the professor some water and we won't be long, I promise. We'll get some water for you, Professor. Just a few more questions. Do you have any idea why we might be here?
I hope that you have come to tell me that you're not doing the exhibition and that the idol is safely away from people.
Why would you say that? For what reason would you want the idol to be safe and away from people?
He motions to a dresser further behind him, and you can see that there's been bookshelves all through the house. This is obviously a learned man that keeps a lot of material around. But there is a book that is actually out on his dresser, not close to his bed. So perhaps he brought this home prior to what happened to his health.
I'm going to walk around and have a look at the book, if that's all right with everyone. What's this?
I think Florence, who seemingly has an interest in books, apparently, will join Bonnie at that point.
So it is a book called, well, hang on. I'll just get you to do an idea roll for me, which is also an intelligence roll.
Yes, I would absolutely love to. There it is. Oh, it's quite high. I stacked it, that one. All right, let's see. Yeah, it is a very regular 53.
Okay, so this is the Arcanaton Fragments. And you remember from the library that this is actually the book that was indefinitely loaned out to the professor.
Oh,
And was
this one.
not one. So Clarence actually had the title in his notes, but it was the third one that you looked for, which was indefinitely signed out, and had been signed out prior to the professor's becoming unwell.
Is this an opportunity to just quickly open the book and see who did sign it out?
You can, and it was him. It
Oh,
was him
okay.
that signed it out.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you said prior to the professor, someone had.
Oh, no, prior to him becoming unwell.
Understood. Sorry, confusing. Great. Carry on.
And so that was just referenced in the researcher's notes, yeah.
Yeah. So
What was the name of the book again? Sorry.
So Clarence had referenced 2 books in his notes, as well as the phrases. And when the library rolls were done, the first book was found. Information on the phrases were found, which was to do with Khonsu and the legend to do with Newt actually being able to have children. And then there was the third book, but when the librarian went to find that book, it was discovered that it was indefinitely loaned out to Professor Gray. And
Can I check one thing before anyone else does anything? I'm going to look at the book and see if there's any bookmarks or any pages that have been specifically turned, or does the book fall open at a particular place?
Oh, does the professor dog ear his books?
He does not dog ear his books, and it is very well thumbed through. But he was motioning for you to retrieve the book.
Oh.
So he's probably willing to talk about it.
Fantastic. I'll just take the book back to him. Is this the book, Professor? Do tell. It's quite shiny.
So he will, and it's with difficulty that he will sort of show you through some of the pages. But he's very keen to impart knowledge onto you as to why it's so important that this exhibition not go ahead. And it becomes clear that the reason why he wanted them was to prevent those items from being shown, rather than any material wealth or gain or anything like that. This residence is obviously not that of a man who is specifically out for commercial gain, because it would look much better than it was. This is someone who has, whether it's a pursuit of knowledge, whether it's the application of that knowledge, there is something, for want of a better term, higher that drives this individual in preventing the idol from being shown at the exhibition.
I'm just going to whisper to Evie. Evie, I'm not sure we should tell him, given his frail health, that the idol is missing. What do you think?
Perhaps we could just give him some reassurance that it is away from people. We don't have to specify which people.
But not in its sarcophagus. but not in its sarcophagus
No.
or sarcophagi.
Well, if he didn't want the thing shown, then perhaps he's in cahoots with whoever took it.
Where did you come from?
Florence has just floated up silently behind us.
She walks very softly.
Yeah.
Very softly.
Florence
Dainty
is
little feet.
Florence is the ghost of exhibition.
Hey, that's a good point, Florence. At this point, Finley's gonna step in and say, so you didn't see Clarence for a long time, but have you been in correspondence with him? Like any mail at all?
Professor Gray will sort of hold a hand up, and you realize that he's trying very hard to concentrate without getting distracted, and that he really has a message that he wants to try and get through. I will get you to give me another idea roll or something like a medicine roll, whichever's higher, but I'm pretty sure your idea will be higher than medicine.
Yeah,
I'd use
it's pretty easy to be higher than a 1.
Yeah, mine is
idea
1.
roll from me.
Thanks.
Oh, 22. That's good. That's
Mhm.
great. That is better than average.
Yeah. Now I'll get you to give me a sanity roll.
Now sanity needs to be under.
Yes. Same as
Great.
normal skill roll.
All right, it's 55. What could possibly go wrong? Oh, 2 zeros and a 3.
Nice.
There you
That's
go.
very good. Yes.
Okay.
Rock solid.
Finn, did you succeed your idea roll?
I did. I got a 35 and my idea is 50.
Give me a sanity roll.
Can do. 55, which is also a success.
Okay. So each of you comprehend something that makes you face that sense of mortality, but also how other people approach it.
It's Florence.
However, each of you are able to do this without it impacting your thought structure. You come to the realization with the determination that Professor Gray has, he is about to die, and he knows he's about to die. And he is doing everything that he can to make sure that someone knows this information to help prevent whatever he thinks is going to occur. And that this is possibly what he's holding on for.
We're not talking in the next 2 or 3 minutes, are we? I mean, he's still got a few questions in him, right?
You get the sense from what your role was that he is holding on to make sure this information is imparted. What happens when you leave the residence, you don't know, because he will feel like he doesn't need to hang on for something to be fulfilled.
Professor, we need to know about the idol and why it isn't so important that it is out of the public eye and safely back in its sarcophagus.
So he will point to part of the book and explain to you that the book was written soon after the city of Nyarlathotep was lost to the sands. That other material suggests that Nyarlathotep was a mythological city. It had stories fabled about it. But this book was meant to be written by someone who actually lived there, and therefore it would have existed if this was true. The writer of the fragments actually writes about these terrible riots that destroyed all bar a few people in the city, and that the writer was actually one of the few survivors, that the city itself was effectively destroyed by the violence and brutality that each citizen showed each other, that the riots followed shortly after the arrival of an artifact known as the Idol of Thoth. The writer goes on to say in the book that it is not the sarcophagus, or he denies that the sarcophagus was the idol that was stolen from the moon god Khonsu by Thoth as part of a game. which is also what you picked up in another book. Instead, the idol was a gift from the Pharaoh of the Blackest Night to his high priest. And when the light of Khonsu shines upon it, the sarcophagus opens to reveal the idol inside. The writer of these fragments believes that the idol is fashioned from the very moonlight that Thoth had stolen from Khonsu. All who lay eyes on the idol are driven insane and under the power of the idol as if possessed. And their only remaining wish in their existence was to force others to view the moonlight and also fall under its power.
Do we just tell him? I mean, he's practically got minutes, hours. What could possibly go wrong? What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
He
Out
might
of his
have
misery.
more information. You know, if he knew it was absolutely imperative, because what are we on now? We've got, what, 2.5 hours to get back?
If we
Or
look on
to
our bonus.
find... Professor, I have a question. I'm going for it. I'm going to tell him. I'm just going to tell him. We're in a bit of a predicament here. You wouldn't happen to know where the idol of Thoth might be.
So I will get you again to make an idea roll.
2 zeros and a 5. Wow, the dice love me.
Yeah. So you understand from what has just been conveyed to you, the idol inside the sarcophagus is not something you can physically hold. It is moonlight.
Right.
And when
So it's
the
not
moonlight,
metaphorical.
when the moonlight on the outside hits the sarcophagus opens, and the moonlight that was stolen from Khonsu inside the sarcophagus drives everyone mad when they look upon it.
But that's obviously nuts, so probably not important.
So this is confab, everyone, confab. So this is something that's only going to happen of a nighttime, and when everyone is looking upon the sarcophagus. If his theories are true, it's not a physical item as such.
Well, it's what's written in the book. It's not Gray's theories. It's actually what's written in the book.
We
So-
just need to nail the sarcophagus tight and hide it. Is that am I getting this right? Am I getting this wrong?
So we left the sarcophagus in the museum,
We did.
but you're saying potentially the scripts are saying that there wasn't actually an idol in there, but it's more about opening the box at the right time and shining light will blind you all.
It's a Pandora's box is what it is.
So we need to get back to the museum then in that case.
We might need to. Does anyone have any other questions for the professor?
Perhaps ask him for his... no, we already have another card. Don't worry about it. Oh, don't mind me, Petal. I'm having one of my moments.
Okay, I have a question. One last question, Professor. Let's just say the the box is opened. How does one then close such a box, or how does one shield their eyeballs from the mad thing that comes out of the box? How do we handle this situation? How would you tell us? What would you do?
I would presume if the box is sealed under the very light that opens it, that it would be closed again. But of course, if you
Under the same light.
if you look upon it while it's open under the moonlight.
Right. So the only way to do this is either we go in there blindfolded or one of us sacrifices ourselves
Well, it is only what
and
two,
directs the
2
others.
o'clock-ish
12
in the
o'clock, 1
afternoon?
o'clock. to shut the box.
How long will it take us to get back to the museum? It's only the afternoon yet, isn't it?
Correct. So because of the time of year it is and the fact that it's winter in Massachusetts, it will effectively be almost night by the time you arrive, which is, also part of the reason why the exhibition was due to start at 5.
What time is it now?
2:30. We arrived at 2:10. How long have we been here? 20 minutes?
And it will take you 2 hours to get back.
And it will take approximately half of that for Florence to get back down the stairs.
Is it
Fireman's carry.
something
It's fine.
where
I've got you.
Professor, I've got questions. I've got so many questions. I'm aware we're on a time limit here. Could we just throw a blanket over the box, or is that not enough? Does it need to be buried? Does it need to be holy watered? Does it need to be in a special?
I
We
believe
just pull the
that
blinds down,
as
close the
lo-
shutters.
as long as it is kept in a way that the particular fragment of the full moon that was stolen from Khonsu cannot reach it.
So we need to make sure that the fragment and the box never touch. Or is it just a proximity thing? If you just wave it around near the box.
I believe from the fragments it can only open under the light of the full moon. So as long as the light of the full moon does not touch the sarcophagus, then it should be fine.
I think we've got pretty much what we need. Is there anything we need to know?
Well, if it's already been opened once, does that mean it's escaped? And
That means someone else has the fragment. It means that they can, I mean, it's open. So the fragment activates it. They knew that something had been taken from it. It was open, right?
Clarifying, when it opens, those who look upon it go mad because it's the moonlight that was stolen that's in there. So that would indicate that basically, and the people who then lose their sanity to it try to force others to look upon it under the full moon. So that would indicate that it's not something that's mobile traveling around. It remains within there, but can only be seen in certain conditions.
So we really need to get back as quick as possible and then bury this sucker.
Yeah.
What do you think, everyone?
Just lawkeeper, I guess. What's the likelihood? Because this is all a very irrational explanation of a thing, right?
No, you're absolutely right. There's no reason why we should believe this.
The likelihood that just reading from the text is inclined to foster belief, I guess, between that and the professor.
The professor obviously believes what he is saying.
Yeah.
Whether your character believes it is a completely different story and completely up to you.
And I think the closest thing I can think of to get there would be like a library check against the piece of text, just in terms of establishing and kind of setting its authenticity and that kind of a thing, which doesn't necessarily equal flat out, I guess, belief in this obvious insanity.
I mean, a lot of cultures have texts that have mythology written as if it's myth, really occurred.
Right? Correct.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay. So that's a 10 against a library use of 60. So that's an extreme success.
Okay. So you can tell from the fact that this is obviously a special resource from the library at the Miskatonic University. It's from their special collection. This is legitimate in regards to it is the book that everyone's talking about. It is a rare book. It is something of historical significance. Whether or not your character believes that Thoth is real, that Khonsu is real, all that sort of stuff, that's up to you. But what you're reading is valid accredited historical text.
Yeah. Okay. Look,
Does that make sense?
that absolutely does. You know what they say? You can't fight the moonlight, and quite clearly, all of this is absolute baloney. But
We all have a sanity roll just for hearing that joke. No.
but I will
Absolutely.
say, quite
Nope, pass.
often,
Oh, I failed.
Failed.
quite
Uh,
often, mythological superstition comes from entirely explainable events. So perhaps there is some kind of reaction of some sort if the moonlight touches this sarcophagus. So I think you're right, Bonnie. I think we should get on out of here and see what we can do to put this thing away.
I didn't want to lead anyone to think that I absolutely believe this. I mean, we have a dying man. We have a dying man in front of us, and I didn't want to, he's old, he's frail. But I am
I beg
interested
your
in getting
pardon.
back to get our the money. I think we can get them on a technicality with that one. But just in cases, maybe we should head out.
Okay. So who got the hard successes on their spot hidden before? Since no one got extreme.
I didn't
Thank God.
get extreme, no?
No, no
got
one got
regular.
extreme.
The medium is the heart.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, I got that for my spot hidden.
Okay, so Evie and Bonnie, you kind of smell smoke.
I don't know if I did get a spot hidden. I'm so sorry.
Then Evie,
Or I did.
you kind of smell smoke.
I check to make sure Florence isn't smoking. Can anyone else smell that?
Smell what?
It's an
It smells
awful
like
odor,
smoke.
but it's very rude to mention he is a dying man.
He's a dying man, yeah.
No, I'm saying it smells like there's smoke in here.
Anyone who succeeded on their spot hidden but didn't get a hard success and only got a regular would now smell the smoke since it's been pointed out to them.
Right.
Hey,
Oh dear.
that
Alfred,
creeps up on you, hey.
We've got this door open. We're standing in the doorway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Let's step into the hallway.
You still smell it. You can't see any smoke, but you can
Yay.
smell it.
yeah, I think Florence will kind of yell out for Alfred to return.
Alfred is coming up the chairs with a folded up wheelchair
Oh dear.
and tells people you need to leave now.
So why do you have the wheelchair, Alfred? And why do we need to leave?
Someone has set the house alight, and I am going to retrieve the professor to remove him from the building.
I'm going to help him. I think it's only fair.
With remarkable agility for a woman her age.
I'm fit.
and an incredible sense of self-preservation.
I'm quite
Florence
fit.
heads towards the stairs.
I thought you were going to say you just take the wheelchair.
Considered it.
Oh, Jesus, take the wheel and run. No. Okay, so you all help him down, and indeed, by the time you get to the bottom floor, someone has set the house alight, and it looks to be that instead of doing the outside where the wood is wet, they've done it under the house almost to make sure
Oh,
things
and like a
are
crawl
cold.
space.
So that way, if the house, because wet wood, it smokes a lot. So if the house didn't stay alight, smoke inhalation would potentially affect everyone inside.
Did we grab the book with us?
Who was
We've got the
holding it
professor.
last?
Professor, have you got that book? Oh, because we gave it to him, didn't we? I think we need to go now. We've got two cards.
Florence will have it. She did a library use check against the book. She will have still had it in her possession, I think.
All right, so let's make our way towards the car.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Hey, I'd like to do a spot hidden on the car before we
I was
get
going to
in.
say, would people like to do a spot hidden on the car? Sorry to make you do
Yeah.
so many in a row.
Sure.
And because Alfred's with us, right?
What is my spot
Correct.
hidden? All right, 50. Got to get under 50. 84. Uh-oh. I just knocked my shin into the boot. Ah. There's a car here.
And I think Florence will ask Alfred directly. Did you see who started this little blaze? Who could have done this?
There was a car that drove up and then drove away, and I smelt the smoke after they left.
I just got a success on my spot hidden.
You notice the
I
tires
got
on
a success too, yeah.
the tires on your vehicle have been slashed.
I don't
There's
suppose you
another
have
car.
any more tire repair kits, do you?
I
Hey,
only brought the one. I don't know if, I don't think the tire kit gets exhausted, but I don't think we have any spare tires. Is the problem?
no, but we have a professor's car.
Al-
We are probably not going to all fit. We probably could fit, actually. But
So-
the wheelchair can't come.
You're aware that the professor has been coughing, going through the smoke and all that sort of thing as well. And while you're having this conversation and examining the car, you hear Alfred tell you to take the professor's car. And the professor has gone strangely silent.
Strangely,
Okay.
as
Thank
in the
As in
the quietude
everyone-
of death, or
Everyone can make an idea roll.
Yeah.
Bum, bum, bum.
Oh, that's
13,
incorrect. That was the wrong
success.
guy.
And if you succeeded,
Yep.
please do a sanity roll.
Okay.
I have not one
great.
thought in my head.
What if I extremely
Ooh.
succeeded? Can
Then it's still just a sanity roll.
I was
That's
really
I
hoping.
succeeded,
I
but
also succeeded my sanity.
What
I did
happens
not
if you
succeed my
fail?
sanity.
If you failed your idea roll, you just think he's tripping along cool. You actually haven't figured out what's going on.
I just succeeded my sanity roll.
Jump in the car, Professor. Come on.
Oh,
Are we all getting in?
oh, sweetie, no.
There's enough room. Oh, we're talking those long seats that with no seatbelts, right?
There might be room until the rigor mortis sets in. Then,
3 in the front, 3 in the back. Rigor who?
and I think she'll tap Alfred on the shoulder and just sort of, quietly and politely inform Alfred that Alfred's body has passed away.
So Alfred is aware, you would have realized Alfred is aware of this,
Oh,
and this
great.
is why he said that you may as well take the professor's car.
Cool.
And he had the fortitude to grab car keys on the way out of this burning house.
Well, no one else lives out there with them, so
These are in the
They're just in the visor.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
The crank.
Would you like me to drive? I think we need to go.
crank it
Let's
over.
go. Let's go.
Blessings to you, Professor. Mwah. You. He's awfully quiet, isn't he?
Step on it, Barney.
Oh my God.
How fast are we going? We fanging it or we?
So you have enough time to get there before 5. If you drive at a normal speed,
Well, then we've got half an hour. Yeah.
yeah,
Is that
you'll have
correct?
half an hour to
Got
spare.
half an hour. Yeah.
You can do a successful navigation roll to reduce the time for whoever's driving.
All right. Navigation.
Do you wanna-
Sorry, a hard success on a navigation roll for that, not a regular.
I'll just pull over then. But you want to swap? Does anyone want to swap driving with me? It's gonna pull over.
I think everyone will have the default there, sorry.
Yeah.
Given that I am familiar with the back roads, seeing as how I was
Navigate,
born in
yeah.
You
Arkham.
are familiar with the back roads of Arkham, but you are on your way to Boston.
Sorry, I didn't travel. I don't get out much.
So it's the sort of
Yeah.
thing where people might know shortcuts. So it's not like, so that's why a navigation roll can reduce the time. You don't get penalized if you don't succeed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll give it a navigate is 10, and I got a 26.
So it takes you the 2 hours. You don't get penalized for it.
Great. Quickly, is that a stop sign? All right, let's go. So this is enough time to talk about though. We've got 2 hours, right? What are we going to do when we get there?
I was going to say, do people want to have a break before this discussion or a break after this discussion?
Maybe beforehand, and then we can.
Yeah, I think a little recap going into the discussion will be useful as well.
Yeah.
So we can absolutely have a little break now if you like.
I haven't been using the Discord. I'm a terrible DM for doing that.
Hey, that's fine. I genuinely thought you were going to say you haven't been using the toilet for truly such a long time, and that's why you needed a break. Hey, look, we're going to take a little. You do this. You're running the show. You're running the game.
Valid.
We're going to take a 5-minute break so the players can collect their thoughts, get a drink and everything, and then come back and plan how they're going to resolve this sarcophagus situation, especially if they don't believe that Khonsu's real. Newt.
All yours. Newt.
So we have returned. The group has managed to speak to Vincent Gray, managed to crash the car on the side of the road, but adequately repair because Finn actually pre-planned having a repair kit on him, which I can confirm as the DM he actually did, and also specified he was leaving it in the trunk of the car. Finn had everyone's bacon saved time-wise there. So basically, everyone has gone to Vincent Gray's house, which was actually one of the main suspects for having stolen the Idol of Thoth. However, upon arrival, he was extremely unwell, had been for some time, and actually felt the idol was unsafe. And it became clear that he was not involved in the theft of the idol and was not aware that it had been stolen because of his health. There was a car that had been following them. The car disappeared. Was it actually following them? Was it even there? Car turns up and starts burning the house down with our intrepid investigators inside. Upon leaving, assisting the butler in removing the elderly gentleman who was infirm in his bed, the elderly gentleman has offered for them to take the car because the tyres on their vehicle appears to have been slashed, perhaps by the same individual that was trying to, well, destroy the house with them inside, to put it kindly. So, half the investigators have realised that unfortunately the elderly gentleman has passed when
No, he's fine. He's
when being
fine.
removed by the butler from the residence. And the others feel that they've just left the butler and this elderly gentleman in front of a burning house out of town and taken off in their car. However, it was at the insistence of the butler who offered the vehicle and those who actually did successful checks in the bedroom and the bedchamber of the elderly gentleman, Professor Vincent Gray, know that he had his heart set on the idea that this exhibition not occur. And so that by taking the vehicle to try and stop the exhibition, you're carrying out the final wishes of Professor Vincent Gray.
Okay.
It takes 2 hours for the party to get to the exhibition. They will arrive there at 4:30. The exhibition will start at 5. So people will be arriving at the time you get there. However, in the 2-hour car ride, you get to talk about what is actually going on, what you'll believe is going on as opposed to what Professor Gray believes is going on. What are you actually going to do when you get there? I don't believe
I'm
it takes
focused
you
on the
2 hours,
road.
but
Yeah.
go for it.
Now,
Have a chat while I sit here with my Maltesers like popcorn.
just to be clear, no one here truly believes that this sarcophagus is haunted, right?
I personally got quite sucked into the story, and I did for a moment believe it, but I'm not sure I do. It's not part of my my lore, my understanding of the world. No, I don't believe it.
Don't get me wrong. I've seen some crazy things. But sorry, I feel like you were going to say something.
No, I mean, moonlight that makes you just a wee bit mad. Believing that's probably like, if you believe in that, you're probably a bit predispositioned to being a bit kooky anyway.
I've always been told that there is always some element of truth in every story. And I know that some people do become affected by moonlight.
Absolutely. Well, the full moon absolutely brings the nutters out, doesn't it? But how do we feel about as a precautionary act, perhaps not going ahead with the exhibition opening, and perhaps or do we throw caution to the wind and see what happens?
I mean, if we show them the book, do the things that Professor told us, get the money.
I'm concerned
Do
about
that
the money.
first.
Are they going to give it to us if we haven't given them a solid item?
They're
I-
expecting a idol back, aren't they?
Which brings
They
me
are.
back to my original theory that is absolutely one of those two museum staff who have stolen whatever was actually inside that sarcophagus.
If they don't get the idol back, they won't go ahead with the exhibition.
I'm sure they'll sell it on some kind of black market or something.
Do we return with something and just lie? Or do we tell them it's nothing and we get nothing? And then there's the other thing that would happen. We go through with the exhibition opening, and there's various things that may or may not happen from that point as well. Look, I'm just playing devil's advocate. I don't believe.
I think the most straightforward thing to do would be to give them the book that we have, explain what the professor said, and
return it to the library. That's good.
Urge them not to go ahead with the exhibition.
Yep.
Personally, I like the challenge of the fake idol idea. It does seem likely that they would disbelieve the ramblings of a dying old man who's been harassing them for several days.
They've not seen the idol. Like, we didn't see
They never
any
opened it,
paperwork of pictures of what they believed the idol was, did we?
And if there was something in that sarcophagus,
and
they did take it, then their reaction will tell us who is guilty and who is
Hang on,
not.
I'm recalling something we were told about the idol.
mythology says that it's a large diamond inside.
So, next question. Where exactly are we going to get an incredibly large diamond?
That is a great question.
Looking at you, Florence, you seem to be the richest of us all.
The crown jewel of our silver screens, as it was.
Oh, you're too kind. Look, I certainly do have some costume pieces that might fit the bill, but surely we don't have time to stop by my humble residence.
Hear me out. Is large diamond a proper noun?
So from what you recall, it is rumored to be like the size of a hand, like really freaking large.
But no one's seen it.
No one has seen it.
Well, if I produce something else, the size of a hand, and I go, here it is, the large diamond. That is its name. Oh, I'm so sorry, you were fooled.
Those crazy Egyptians that
Crazy
calling
Egyptians.
things other things.
Ooh.
Can we grab something else from the exhibition?
Well, we know their security isn't very great.
No, I know. And then pop that in the sarcophagus if we can get the lid open. Did we get the lid open? We didn't, did we? It was open.
It was already open.
It's already
It was open. So we just popped that back in. Something else. One of the scarab beetles. I know we saw one of them.
So I'll say two things. First, I feel that the museum staff may recognize anything that we take from the museum itself, potentially as curators of this same museum. Secondly, as you've said, nobody knows, other than whoever stole, what might have happened or been in there, what was in there. We have a perfect scapegoat. This is very much like a plot in one of the stage plays I was in when I was younger. We have a scapegoat in the dead professor who has been harassing the museum for some time. I think they'll believe that. I think we can sell that. And we can simply say, this is what we've recovered from the professor. And the rumor of the diamond within was overstated.
We could also bank on the fact that people love a good drama. And when we get back, we could say that only moments before, as opposed to last night, that the diamond was stolen. It could be anyone in this room. They could be out the front door. We don't know. And we could get ahead of ourselves, call in the newspapers. I mean, that's going to lessen the, I don't know what you call that, the fallout, and make people less angry at this opening. I mean, there's lots of other beautiful things. We could also do that. That might be part of the story we sell. Now you're a part of it too. Congratulations. That could also work.
The only potential downside there is, as Evie has said, if there is some kind of truth to this sarcophagi
Correct.
being poisonous or haunted, if you will, potentially that's more people who could be affected by whatever that is.
Right. So
Do we want to be responsible for that?
I mean, that's also a good show as well, as long as we're paid, right? If we don't return with something solid, how likely are they going to pay us?
No, we do have something solid. We have the book.
Yeah.
And I
Definitively,
know.
probably able to be identified as not coming from within the sarcophagus, though.
No, I'm saying the material thing we're bringing them back is additional text that they may not have been able to access before because it's been in that library that only the professor has access to.
That's
And
right.
given
yeah.
that they're museum people, learned people, potentially they would see value in that.
Give them a book, they'll be believers. That could work. They might believe there was never anything in there to begin with.
They might believe the warning and stop the exhibition.
Just generally, what are the people of Arkham generally known as? You know, are they a trusting lot? Are they a superstitious lot? Are they
drunks?
What do we know about Arkham and the people and the folks that are going to be attending?
So Arkham itself has a little bit of a mix, but remember, this is in Boston that the exhibition
yes, of course.
is happening.
Of course, sorry, yes. All right. Have we missed anything? Is there anything that, I mean, we will have a solid half an hour when we return. Do we need to do anything else before we get back? What would our first point of call be? Hide the
Ask
box?
them, did they ever weigh the thing?
Talk to our Mr. Hollister or who have we got? Miss Browning.
Miss Browning's probably the best shot.
Arthur Ormond, Miss Browning.
Hollister's just the honor. She got everything.
I still don't trust her.
What was our sense of who she was as a person? Was she superstitious? Was she?
So you didn't really go into that with her. When you were doing
we
your
didn't.
checks in relation to her, you were looking to do with whether or not she'd been honest about what had happened.
We need to have a small conversation with her, and I feel like we need to, I don't know, a thought might be two of us go and do that, and two of us go and deal with the sarcophagus.
Yeah, if there's some kind of conversation with her to be like, oh, we found a book to say there was never actually anything in there, she might be very quick to just believe it. And then you might catch on to that, maybe. I don't know. It's like, if you tell her, oh, there was never anything in there, she might just jump on that and be like, yes, I can get away with it.
We also do know that Professor Gray has a alibi, so he couldn't possibly been involved with stealing it because he was too sick to leave his bed in the period of time that it's.
Are we absolutely certain? We absolutely certain that he was too sick.
So the
He's dead as a doornail now.
I'm playing
I
devil's
saw
advocate.
this-
I don't
saw
think
the
about
state
that.
of him.
Okay.
Wasn't looking
And
too spry.
who was missing still?
Butterworth,
Old mate
Clarence.
The two stories between when
Clarence.
he stopped harassing them and when he said he had become ill, kind of it lines up.
It does. It does. A poor man. I hope he passes soon. All right. What about Clarence? What do we know about Clarence?
Clarence is poor.
Poor enough to steal something from the box and try and sell it?
Mm.
Do you
You
think
don't
he might
necessarily have to be poor to steal things, but potential. I mean, it does give him maybe a little more desire to potentially, and he did have dealings with Professor Gray.
He did. He did. Was he help me out here. Was Clarence just a general worker in the museum, or was he specific to that exhibition? When did he start work? Did we find out anything about him?
He was the research assistant.
So, right. So he'd be doing things all over the museum.
He was
but this would
working
be,
with it late in the evenings by himself.
of course he was, yes.
Likely to be some kind of Egyptologist, I think.
Wasn't really paid all that well from what we could gather.
And his
But he would have
employer,
been working late at night over, say, the course of maybe many a moonlit night, alone with the box. A devil's advocate, don't believe. But perhaps he has he's got more knowledge of the box and the workings of the box than we know.
Maybe Clarence has discovered too that is, in fact, the box being opened is a bad thing, and has disappeared because he doesn't want to be around when it does get opened.
Of course.
But he's already gone mad from looking at the thing.
But we're missing the fragment, right? Am I getting this right?
the fragment of magical moonlight.
The fragment is not a physical thing. Oh, I do love the stories though.
So don't forget, the Arcanatum Fragments is also the name of the book that you're carrying. So if you're going to use the word fragment, just clarify if you're talking about what that fragment of moonlight it refers to, or fragment being the book.
Right. Maybe we just need to devil's advocate. Maybe the book is something more than what we think the book is. Maybe the book has within the book's presence. Of course, I don't believe this, but maybe within the book's presence, that will have an effect on the sarcophagus. So maybe we just need to destroy the book as well. Is this the book we got from the house?
It is, but we could also just take it back to the library at some point.
Are we bringing potentially the book back to the sarcophagus?
No, the book was never at the museum.
No, it wasn't. Okay. All right.
At any time you can.
It's the only real bit of evidence we have.
At any time, feel free to say, "Can I make an idea roll?" I will only give you things if you've uncovered the information already. I will not give you extra things. But especially while you're learning, I'm happy to help you piece things together that
I have a thought. And the thought is, have we come across something without understanding what it truly is on our journey that might actually be part of the bigger picture? Do you think we may have actually already seen and uncovered and ignored?
That's a little bit more.
That's too much.
Yeah.
All right, that's food for thought. Food for thought.
I like what you're thinking, though.
I like you trying to manipulate the offer I just made, but
I have a thought, potentially thinking back to the books that we found in the library on our quest, and I think it was in the library, we were looking at the Book of the Dead,
Mm-hmm.
and something about how the calendar was formed is in the Book of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Full moons
Mhm.
are often depicted in calendars.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was another book about the Pharaoh of the Blackest Night.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking maybe the fact that all of those books are tied to this artifact, it's spelling it out essentially. On the full moon, everyone dies.
That's quite a stretch.
I think that's a
Yes.
little dramatic, but that certainly seems to be fairly close to what the beliefs about this thing are. So the question becomes,
What mood is everyone in today? Should we take a chance on this, or should we just in case he's cover the sarcophagus up or bury it for the night?
I think
Last thought, Finley's just thinking about when we went to the sanatorium and Ormond's just screaming it wants it back. Can he piece together anything with like this book information and the moonlight hitting it? Is there something he can look through in the text that mentions a way to give it back? Like the fragment of the moonlight back to the moon? Is there anything he can decipher?
So we've got someone in the backseat just thumbing through quickly just to see if we've missed anything.
Yeah. So, I mean, feel free to give me a library roll if you want to see if there's anything more than what Professor Gray mentioned.
Did
I think I'd
Ormond
just like to
swallow
look for
the
just give it back.
diamond?
Knowledge
probably.
or library?
Library.
Yeah.
Library.
Right. I'll give it a red hot. Oh no, that is a 92. Goodness gracious.
Not quite high enough to endorse the score, but that's fine. So there is nothing that you can see that gives you any additional information on a resolution other than what Professor Gray has already told you. So there's nothing about giving the fragment back. It's all about keeping the sarcophagus closed and out of the moonlight. Or more specifically, the moonlight of the full moon.
And I think it will be hard pressed to steal the sarcophagus and find a way to be done with it forever. But surely we can convince the museum staff to cover it up. Or failing that, we set the museum on fire. It got us out of the house. I'm sure it would prevent an exhibition.
If in doubt,
I believe in consequences, so just remember that when you're talking about burning things down.
Florence says to the voice in her head, I believe in covering my tracks and leaving no evidence.
Boston Museum of Fine Arts, sure. Let's just burn it all down. So what is your plan as you get closer to the museum?
Okay, I've got a plan. I think we need to make sure that if Clarence returns for whatever reason, that he has apprehended by security at the door. I think someone needs to either, our first thing is alert security, this person is not to enter the building. Our second plan is probably we need to get rid of the sarcophagus. And I think thirdly, we need to or bury it or cover it or chant some Buddhist monk, play sweet music, but while it's hidden in a drawer, just for tonight. And then the last thing is try to convince Miss Browning that she should shut down the exhibition What do you think?
I think convincing her to shut down the exhibition will be a hard sell.
Security,
Absolutely.
sarcophagus, and maybe what her thoughts are. We need to tell her what we've found and discovered. Is this three people in in 3 different areas? Do we split up? Do we stay together? This will take time, won't it?
You're right. I'll look for some kind of accelerant while you explain all that to her. Or something to cover the sarcophagus, perhaps.
Like lead?
Potentially because I mean, I don't think we really have the authority to be telling their security staff to stop another member of their staff at the door. Potentially we can get, Mr. Hollister and Miss Browning together, tell them what we know, explain what they need to do, and let them continue forward. And then if they don't want to, then we just leg it. Or like Miss Blue said, we just set fire to the place.
Okay. All right. So 2 of us need to convince the museum faculty, and 2 of us need to go and bury the box. Sarcophagus.
Well, hopefully they can escort us, or we can accompany them to make sure that they're doing it.
We're going to need to get back in the room, aren't we? And make sure that,
it's
there'll be
locked.
people in there doing preparations.
They lock the door. I don't know whether public will be able to go straight in necessarily. We're going to need them to come with us.
Correct. Okay. So first point is Browning.
I think so.
So have we done all the planning that we need to do?
Good hustle, everyone.
Good hustle on your 2-hour car, Tony.
Now we'll turn the radio on. Are there radios in cars at this point?
Great.
Probably not. How about a nice little sing-along?
A nice little sing-along. I mean, you've started singing in the chat. We can't sing on the stream because of copyright issues, but let's pretend we did.
Wow, way to fucking dodge ever singing on the stream immediately, Tammy. Nicely done.
We can sing Old Man River.
I think that's true.
Or the Charleston. We can just
Absolutely.
along.
Of course. All right.
So you arrive at the Museum of Fine Arts. It is approaching dusk because it is just after 4:30, but you are there before the exhibition is due to open.
So is it lit up? Are there people there?
I will describe it for you.
Yes. Sorry.
So the edifice is glaring down on you during the deepening dusk, and the wings of stone that were the side parts of the museum appear to encircle you both left and right, drawing you in towards the gaping maw of the columns and shadows at the front door. What was officious and regal during the day has somehow become hunched and sinister in the early evening light, almost as if the building knows the terror that you're going to face when you go inside.
Okay. Do we have an order of who's going in first, or do we just all barge through the door? Is the door open to us?
Well, people are entering the museum because of the exhibition. So you have people that are in various levels of dress, but obviously dressed for an evening. Some are obviously arriving early for the event, and others will arrive later. But there is people meandering through the front door.
Right. There might be a small chance that Clarence is here. I'd like to be on the lookout for anyone who is not looks a bit sus. Anyone who looks a bit sus.
Yeah, we never got
Perhaps.
his description, did we? About what he actually looks like.
Yes, you did from the
Did we?
landlady.
Oh, okay. Oh, of course, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think Finley kind of being used to being in places that are crowded and compact, he'll try and keep an eye out for him as well. That's someone of that description. He'll just wander around the halls, keeping an eye out.
Is there anything we need to note about the caliber of people who are arriving tonight? I don't know. Nothing.
So you have a mix of people arriving. Everyone is obviously fits into one of two camps. Either they are an academic or the plus one of an academic, or they are in the socialite category.
My
Because
people.
these sorts of exhibitions were very
Of course.
popular in the
Yeah.
1920s. And something like this, where there is rumored to be a significant sized diamond in part of the exhibition, socialites want to be there when things like that happen.
You know who doesn't want to be there? Florence. She is not dressed for this.
As you come through the door, you are greeted by Mr. Hollister and Miss Browning. Mr. Hollister is like, "It's before 5. Did you find it? We've got time to get it into the room before the exhibition opens."
Let's go to the room so we can
Yeah.
discuss what we found.
Absolutely get to the room.
No, we're not. No, the room is closed.
Who wants to give him the bad news?
The room is closed. Only Miss Browning can enter the room. You are not to enter the room, but you can give Miss Browning the idol if you have found it, so she can take it in there.
Is Miss Browning here in front of us? Or is it just the
Miss Browning is
Wonderful.
there as well.
I am going to make some kind of insist or charm and say, look, we really do insist all need to be in the room.
And I, as the person who runs the museum, insist that you not be in the room.
Goodness, man. We're trying to help you.
Do you have the idol or not?
We're happy to walk away with what we've got and not tell you. I think it's either we walk away or you let us in the room.
Then walk away and don't take your bonus.
We have something far more important, which is information that could potentially save lives.
Do you have the idol or not?
Oh, crying
There
out loud,
was
just
no
tell him.
idol.
Thank
There
you.
was no idol. There never was an idol.
Do not tell me things like that. There are widespread accounts that there is an idol.
Stories, and yet we have found evidence of a counter story.
One
From-
as opposed to hundreds.
Oh, of highly reputable source.
Do we just not have the book? Sure.
And when were you an Egyptologist to know whether or not this account was even credible, let alone supported by other accounts at the time?
I have an open invitation to the Cairo Theatre. They have
A
a seat with
theatre?
my name on it.
A theatre. Very different.
We have this from the University of the Occult, which I don't believe you've ever had access to. So potentially they have resources there that you're not familiar with. We have the evidence and the information from a professor. And I would argue, as a professor, would probably know a little more than just someone managing a museum. I'm not saying that you don't know what you're talking about, but I am saying potentially he knows a little better.
Can I get a read on this guy real quick too? Because it feels like his demeanor is significantly different than the last time we spoke to him.
Yeah, he's super cranky.
So also remember that he was an archaeologist himself, just not of Egyptology.
Well,
So he's not just a manager.
then
So
he's still not as experienced as someone who is a professor of that. You can dig up
Who was never an archaeologist and just knows occult.
Arthur
Fair.
or Hollister?
he has a title.
No, so Hollister, if you want to get a read
Hollister.
on Hollister,
Yeah.
feel free to do a psychology.
I gave him my number.
I'm also going to see if I can't get a read on him.
And I apologise if you can hear the ginger cat scratching at the door.
No.
Oh, I think you'll enjoy this. It is 69.
Nice.
Hey.
But what did you need to roll? That was the question.
Yeah, no. I'm about 15 away.
I rolled a 5, and that's a middle number.
Okay. So it is very, clear that he is, one, anxious about the exhibition, wanted it to go off without a hitch. You have returned empty-handed. He does not believe the story that you're providing him.
Can you show him the book?
Even if you show him the book, he still maintains it's one account versus a significant number that are consistent with what should have been inside it.
Is
All right.
Miss Browning there? Or
Miss
she's
Browning
in
is
the
there.
room? Well, then surely we could appeal to the more sensible of the two.
So, as Hollister is arguing with you, Browning will take the book and sit off to the side and start flicking through it. Hollister gets to the point where he instructs security not to let you anywhere near that room.
Damn it.
You are fraudsters and you are to be taken out if you try and approach.
Oh,
While
dear.
After
that's
he
all
goes
happening-
to hobnob with the socialites, Miss Browning comes across. You say, Professor Gray had this.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Clarence referred to this book and intended to discuss things with Professor Gray.
Oh, I see. She finally got around to reading those research notes.
Did have you spotted Clarence in the, since we've been gone?
I still have not spotted him, but I know the security is around the front of the room. There is a back entrance to the room.
We know this when we were in the first time? Did she not tell us about the back entrance? Oh,
It
yes.
it is one that is only used by the people who do the exhibitions because we store things inside rooms, kind of like in a theatre where you hide things behind the curtain.
We might still have a few hours up our sleeve, maybe, if we knew about the back entrance. But take us there.
Okay, so she takes you there. I'll get each of you to do a stealth roll for me.
Oh no.
Oh, I've got some real bad news for you about that.
Oh dear.
And I will have her roll stealth as well, so just bear with me. She might be able to help
on.
things.
Oh, I love these dice. 002.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Got a
she
22.
takes you to a back, like a door that's kind of like a corridor at the back of the building. It's fairly sort of secluded out of the road. And it's quite reasonable to you that this would be where staff potentially go when they're, wanting to be unseen or wanting to stow things from exhibitions, like, for example, Clarence's notes or the table he was using, those sorts of things. So she is like, okay, just go in here. I'll be in shortly. Go through to the end of the door, open the other door. It will take you into the atrium directly. I will briefly stay here to make sure that Mr. Hollister has not seen you. But please go and do what you need to do.
On that note, I think rather than particularly knowing her limitations, I don't think Florence is inclined to go and try and do the sneaky, let's lift this giant sarcophagus stuff. What she
It's
can
not
do-
giant, remember. It's actually,
Okay.
Yeah.
What she is inclined to do, and especially after being spoken to so rudely by old mate, is start just casually chatting with her socialite friends, and perhaps drop a few suggestions that there's nothing in the sarcophagus and there never was.
okay. So you go back around, remembering that Hollister has warned the security that if you approach the room,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be removed from the
She'll
building.
just be poaching outsiders and stragglers. Just casual conversation.
And that's fine. So are you doing it sort of near the doors but inside? Are you doing it as people arrive?
I think probably as they arrive in that initial kind of milling about kind of situation.
So kind of like outside in that general sort of Because you've got the columns and everything, so you've got that undercover area before you go through the door.
Yeah, and there'll be like people walk in and be like, "Oh wow, look at this room! It's so fancy!" And then in comes Florence with a fun little story.
Fun little story.
Mhm.
And it's starting to get a little bit noisier inside. You know, more people are arriving and milling about, waiting for the doors to be open to the exhibition. The others, so Miss Browning has let you know that the corridor has access to the atrium. What are you doing? Florence isn't going in there. She's fucking off. What are you guys doing?
Heading towards the atrium, I guess, so that we can
We're gonna
grab.
let's let Miss Browning go in first, shall we?
She was going to wait behind, I believe.
She's
to make
making sure Hollister
was-
doesn't catch you.
Ah, I see.
Running interference.
So we're assuming as we're making our way behind, we're gonna get some kind of wall in front of us, which will push open a false wall or slide across. That's the understanding. Hey, let's go forward. I do have an umbrella with a little hook end. I'm gonna get that out because
Okay.
that's I just want to be prepared when I enter the room.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You are aware that like the doors are closed. In theory, no one else is in there, which would support the idea that Miss Browning is showing you like a back entrance into the room so you can do what you need to before the doors open.
Should we listen? I might just listen before I open those doors.
Okay, give us a listen roll.
It's 40 and my 21.
Okay. You don't hear anything on the other side of that door, but you hear the door you came through close and lock.
What? No. Dang. Is it what Damn it. Are we thinking
So
it's
are
just
we all currently stood in an atrium right now
wind's
with a locked door behind us?
You're not even in the atrium. You are in this corridor that you have been told is a back entrance to the atrium, which is now a room that appears to have both doors locked with you inside it.
I fucking told you all, didn't I? I fucking told you it was her. Did I not?
All right, bugger it. So let's you know what? I'm gonna continue down the corridor. Let's see what we've got.
Before
Okay.
you do that, can Finley kind of sussing out that situation? Can he immediately try and kick the door that just locked?
Do you want to do the door that just locked, or do you want to do the door that you believe geographically would lead you to the atrium?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do the I'll try and do the atrium then. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, assuming it's locked as well.
I will get you to give me a strength check.
All right, God, pump things into this. It better bloody work.
I've got quite a good strength too. If you don't, I'll give it a go.
Oh, Finn's the one you want for this one, trust me.
All right, let's do it.
That would be, hang on, that would be a 14, which is a critical success for me.
Brilliant.
So you, after a few minutes, do manage to hit that door open. Okay. Now, here's the thing. You guys know dusk is coming. That moon is hitting things either way because the atrium is made, at least on one part of it, solely of glass.
We didn't bring a blanket or anything. What have we got? Do you have one of those cold shopping bags?
Got a coat on.
You
It's
now have an
cool
open
outside.
door that's busted open. You're hoping security hasn't heard you doing it.
Right, so we've got pieces of wood and a dark corridor.
You do have pieces of wood in a dark corridor, but you also were told by Professor Gray that if you're looking at this when the light hits it.
So where do we know okay, I'm going to look out the window. I want to know where the light's bouncing around. Any moonbeams?
It is very close.
Wait,
So
are you saying you can see photons? Is that your pitch?
You can see a moonbeam light. You can see that.
Fair.
So it is close, but you are aware that technically the moon does not rise until approximately 5 p.m.
Do you know what I have? A bloody umbrella. walking in
Bam!
place with this umbrella.
Nice.
I'm gonna
This can
walk
either go
towards
really
it.
well or you've just cursed us all because opening umbrellas inside is bad luck.
Oh, no one. Have you seen my luck score? It's pretty high. I don't believe in that kind of thing. I'm gonna walk
I'm-
towards.
I'm going to get you to give me another idea roll. I know I'm relying on it, but there is a reason why.
No. What am I looking at? It's not idea. It's not
So
It is.
idea is also the same as
knowledge.
intelligence. Well, yeah.
Anyway.
knowledge.
Intelligence, yeah.
Yeah, int.
Oh,
Whichever
intelligence. There
you
it is.
choose.
Okay, it's quite high.
Yeah,
So I'm pretty confident with this.
Choose whichever's highest for you.
002 again. I love you. You were the best.
So you recall having been there this morning and having that excellent spot hidden roll when you were looking for evidence of a break-in. You remember what the layout of this is, as opposed to the windows where you were concentrating a lot of your investigation earlier today. So you are able to use the umbrella to shield looking at the sarcophagus because the rays are going to hit this any minute, but still make your way to where you believe the sarcophagus would be based on your earlier investigation and your memory recall.
Great.
Now
Once
what are you gonna do?
there, I can literally just put the umbrella over it, right? It's not bigger than the umbrella.
So the umbrella wouldn't be able to close around it. So it's 18 inches tall, but it's also got it's three-dimensional. The umbrella's not going to be able to fully close over.
Okay. That's what I'm doing.
Given it's cold outside, wouldn't we all have jackets on? So potentially.
Finley does wear like an overcoat.
I'm wearing a skirt.
Mm-hmm. I would suggest the coat first, but that's just me.
I thought we could bring a little bit of fun into this, but all right, go on, coat it up.
Yeah,
So
just throw my coat on top of it.
So you're throwing your coat over it.
Finn is
Yeah.
behind me as well. We're both shielded from the sarcophagus.
Yes, because you do
Right.
have a sizable umbrella being a suffragette, and the fact that the umbrella is used for multiple purposes.
Do it.
It's not parasol size, it is proper size.
Yep, great.
So you do use a coat to cover this sarcophagus. The moon has not hit it yet. You can now put your umbrella away because it is shielded. And I presume you make your escape.
Back down the tunnel.
I'm not going to make you roll. I'm going to say that you win. You get out. You take this sarcophagus with you.
Ooh.
And drive back to Arkham in the professor's car, notifying your contact at the Blue Stone about what has occurred.
So okay, I don't want to tempt fate here, but we managed to get back through the door, a locked door at the other end, both to the room and down the end of the corridor, holding this sarcophagus through a room of people, or did we just go straight out a window?
I'm hand waving things so that you don't burn down the Museum of Fine Arts.
It doesn't need to be burned down. It's just enough of a distraction to get everyone out of there. I'm sure the noble firefighters of Boston will save the museum.
Did anyone get that book back from
Florence?
treacherous Browning
great
woman?
question.
Nope. No one said they were getting the book back.
God damn it.
But, so, yeah, okay. While all of these shenanigans were afoot, while all of this fuckery was afoot, I should say, would Florence have had a line of sight on these fools doing a grand heisting? Like, if she's in the, I guess, the entrance area of the museum is where that's happening.
I would presume that they would catch her attention on the way out so she can get a car ride back to Arkham, yes.
Okay, in which case she would have done some incredibly melodramatic pretend fainting or something to distract everyone and aid
my convalescence.
that escape, which I think, gives us a plausible version of how they just snuck out of there, I guess.
So sarcophagus in the boot, and then back to Arkham.
Back to Arkham.
And then where does it go?
You provide it to your handler of the Blue Stone, who confirms that he will ensure it is kept locked away.
But we didn't make any money, did we? That is upsetting. So did we
Blue Stone still pays you.
You're
That's fine.
employed by the Bluestone.
Yeah,
Surely
you're
we'll
employed.
get some recompense.
Now, in the paper the next day, you read
Oh.
about the demise of Professor Gray
Oh,
and the honorary
he
obituary.
passed. That's
Oh
upsetting.
no.
You
Yeah.
also read that sometime during the night at the exhibition, where a sarcophagus had been stolen, Miss Browning and her research assistant Clarence became catatonic and
Oh.
are now going to have to be placed into a convalescence until they recover.
He freaking saw the sarcophagus in the light and was making more people try to look at it.
The back of the coat was open as we were running through the space.
No, but I mean, I reckon she saw it at the same time Clarence did in the evening.
Oh, okay. They were
She's
both
known the
there.
whole time.
So here's
I think I've just pieced it. God.
what? You say it, Andy. It's all right.
I think they go catatonic if they fail to get someone else to look at it. It's like the fucking ring.
They didn't pass it on to someone else.
You don't know.
I don't know. Well, Finley doesn't know, but
I can tell you out of character why they become catatonic somewhere off screen, but Finn will never know.
You know, I guess there's only one way to know for sure, and that is to look at it.
Well, you've given it to Edgar, so here's the problem. Now, here's the thing with skill increases. So we will end up doing, given the time, skill increases before next session.
Okay.
However, what I want to let people know is that aside from skill increases, your sanity will change. So you have a starting sanity, but you also have a maximum sanity.
Oh.
So when you do things that make you feel better, your sanity can increase. Because of how you resolved this, you get to do 1d8 sanity point increase and 1d4 sanity point increase.
Woo!
Woo. Okay, so over any kind of break, our sanity just kind of restores itself, or
there are things
that
you can
depend
do to
on the
restore
level?
your sanity, but also
Cups of
by
tea,
so basically
right time.
the fact that you've realized the idol is doing negative things, but you've made sure people are safe, that makes your sanity improve. And the fact that you've done it without actually killing anyone, because we're not counting the professor, that makes your sanity improve.
Those dice are not blessed.
As long as those
Only
firefighters did their job.
1d8 and 1d4.
two improvement.
So 1d8 and 1d4.
Yep. All right. So,
Yeah, not
woo.
Right,
So
got
the
8 in
D8
total.
was. So 1d8 was for what, sir?
So
a
1d8.
combo of both.
Oh,
Yep.
both.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so add the two rolls together and improve your sanity, current sanity by that amount, not your
It
max
brings
sanity.
my number to 69.
Nice!
Yay!
Yes!
Do we gain our luck back?
No, so I will go over that. I will go over what happens to your luck when we're doing the skill increases. However, the other changes I need you to do to your sheet before we do skill increases is I need you to increase your Cthulhu mythos from 0 to 1%.
Ooh. Because of Newt.
Really?
Yes.
Ooh.
And I need you to do a check for the skills of occult if you have not already endorsed it.
There.
And under science, add the word Egyptology as a branch of science and endorse that.
Egyptology.
Under science.
So you won't already have that as a breakdown of science. I'm getting you to add it.
Cool.
I see. I have
And we
science,
will
do I?
increase
So-
that.
So it
What's
says
it-
science none,
Oh.
so I just put
Oh,
Egyptology
there is
as one then.
Egypt. Right.
Yeah.
And then endorse that?
Yeah. Because you will get to do an increase on both of those because of material you learned as a character through
Okay.
this scenario.
The other one was occult. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Where does occult live? Right. What happens to the occult one?
Same deal.
You
just
get to endorse that as
£20.
well because of the information you have found out.
It's not that I wasn't listening. Endorse means to
Check the box
Ticket.
got.
because you will roll to increase it.
I see. That's very good. Good times.
I get to take my driver's license test again today.
Oh.
That's what I'm
I
learning.
think we all need to take our driver's licenses test again.
So yes, so we will do the skill increases prior to the next session. Rather than going through it all on screen, I'll take everyone through it individually.
Although, chat,
Yeah.
if I was you, I'd try and convince Tolera79 to run a stream with at least one of us doing those skill increases. If you've ever wanted to know how that works, could be a fun little thing too.
We can do that at the start of the next one. I'm just also conscious of the time.
That's entirely fair.
So we can actually start off the next session by doing the skill increases. I can tell everyone how it works in the downtime, but we can do the actual rolls on camera.
Oh, fab.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
So the real winner here today was Umbrella.
Yes.
Well, apparently it's 69. Oh no, umbrella. There we go.
Very good.
A question. So obviously we have skills, but then I rolled a critical success on stats. That doesn't do anything right now because I
No.
did the strength. Okay.
No. So there's certain things you actually have to do to increase those stats. So for example, if you want to increase the one that's related to formal education, your character actually has to go to uni or do something like that.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense then. Cool.
Things like strength, that actually tends to decrease as you get older. So stay young, fit, and healthy. That's,
In some ways, it's both good and bad. I mean, the outcomes of today. No one got hurt. No one lost any sanity. But at the same time, none of us have changed as people because none of us had, we didn't get to see what would happen if the box, we haven't really bettered ourselves. We just stole a box. Really.
You lot stole
But we
a box.
we did
Thank
read
you.
about we all read about what happened to them in the paper though, didn't we?
Yeah.
Clarence and
yes.
Yeah. And
So we had bits of doubt perhaps, but reading that it's like, maybe.
And
don't
I
know.
feel like that's kind of like that slow progression of the Cthulhu mythos stuff, right? I think looking long term, I think that's the way I'd be inclined, I think, to play that stat specifically, is you become more aware of and more susceptible to and more influenced by.
Instead of like, it's just a
And
coincidence.
so
There's no
that-
way.
that
It keeps
is-
happening.
That is true. So basically, as your Cthulhu mythos goes up, the maximum sanity you can have goes down.
Okay, that's interesting.
So if your
Right.
mythos score is at 5, the max of your sanity is at like 94.
Yeah, I feel like we've properly Scooby-Dooed this one entirely, and that's
Which
fine.
is fine.
I
Yeah.
think
I will
the
always have a
lesson
way.
is-
I will
it's
always
not-
have a way where you can do that, and that's fine.
Shut
I
them
think
down.
I think the lesson is it's not about the theft, but the friends you make along the way.
Yes.
And the professors you leave behind at burning houses.
Oh, it was so sad.
Dead.
I did not see that coming.
I do hope he recovers.
He was looking so well when you left him.
Yeah.
I'm sure Alfred will take good care of him.
Almost definitely.
Okay.
Who's keeping the car?
So
Well,
I presume from what I was saying before that you advise Edgar of what happened and he organizes the collection of the card for the Order of the Blue Stone.
Oh, we've got a
Because I
logistics
left
guy.
so many things in the back of that car.
Yeah.
We could just send Finlay back with another tire repair kit.
Hey,
Question though about that.
you guys are very lucky that he actually organized to have that. Can I just say?
Quick question about that. Does it actually exhaust or can I keep using it as long as we have more tires?
You can replace the items in it in the same way that you can generally for puncture repair kits and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
So don't stress about that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not the type of DM that's like, no, it costs 2 coin and you only have 1. I am the type of DM where if you don't specify you've got it in the car, I'll make you do a luck roll.
I need you to know.
See if you remember to pack it.
Florence is so fucking rich.
I knew it.
I'm so curious how much money you actually have.
Yeah.
The
I'm
lady
here
never
just
tells.
I'm just there. No, there's money. That's what I want.
Are you going to become her butler now? Like, is that how it's going to work?
You could
I mean,
become
I've
her
offered her my
Alfred.
arm already to take her upstairs, so
Mm.
who knows? Maybe I'll be a benefactor one day.
Are you kidding? The guy cannot fucking drive. He just steered us off a road nearly to our deaths. No way.
Hey, in my defense, I said we will just stay on the road at the same speed for a while, and then everyone else started saying it's still there, and you freaked me out. So I was like, okay, we'll go faster.
I was on team. It's literally just a car. Yep.
So, who do you think was following you / setting
Fucking
you up on fire?
Clarence
Oh,
Butterworth.
Browning. Miss Browning.
in his
No, it was Clarence.
1917 car,
Mm-hmm.
his 1917 Abbott Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we got to the atrium, I was going to ask, can I see like outside and see if there is a parked car in the back that is a 1917? But the umbrella came out, the coat came out, and we just booked it.
And it makes sense, like, going super meta module-wise, because Clarence exists as a character in the thing, and that feels like the only opportunity to have actually encountered him. Unless
He knows
those
we're trying to
opportunities
stop
are
it.
scattered
He
elsewhere.
wants everyone to see it, so he's going to stop us stopping it.
Mm.
I'm not convinced it's Clarence. I think it was Browning.
I think it's just a random
Could have been either,
passerby
so
driving on the
maybe.
road,
Yeah.
Okay.
living their life.
I mean, that's it. Like, someone set the house on fire, but you don't know it's the same person that was in the car.
That's
Clarence and Browning would have had to have had some correspondence, so he was nearby. We just had a close miss, I guess. So
And-
she would have been like, "Oh, they're snooping around. Go get them."
Yeah. And to your point, Katrina, I think that's a cool little like character plot point, right? Is someone tried to fucking kill us. They tried to burn us alive in dead mate's house. That's like a grudge that collectively we could potentially hold.
Correct. And they're still out there.
Even if they are not actually, and they're now in a catatonic state, are doomed to die.
They've probably
but we
gone
don't
to
know
the
that.
sanatorium now.
Well, you do know they're in a catatonic state because it was in the paper.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're for sure in the sanatorium.
Definitely.
Mm.
I'm
So,
excited to roll our stats. That's gonna.
you get
I
to roll
like
your
that.
stats next game.
Yeah, I like that I get to
Yay.
do that. I
And
fumbled my
that-
way to an increase.
And so I'll be able to go through with you during the downtime how the recovery of luck works as well. So those who have spent luck, you may recover some. We will see. Depends on if the dice gods are with you.
Well, the dice gods
Oh, These,
have been with Katrina.
they are great.
So
Yeah.
it's looking good.
Uh-oh. Those two.
But the problem with skill increases is you have to roll over the skill, not under it.
These two, shithouse. All right, I'll roll these. No worries.
Okay, what I will do is I will go through and get everyone to reintroduce yourself. Talk about what you thought was a fun little moment of the game. Who am I going to throw to first? Do we do reverse order? Which would mean Promethean first, because he was last.
Whoa! Luckily, the 0 is a palindrome. Because that's who I am, Promethean, and there's 0 in it. The rest of the name isn't a palindrome, just the 0. I enjoyed this evening particularly. Bonnie Doyle's antics I thought were fucking hilarious. Just missing. I'm pretty sure I said like 3 times that this dude was dead. I don't know if you were missing that deliberately or not, but it was
What? Is he
fucking gold. Absolutely.
Oh, that is upsetting.
Sent me.
We'll have
You
to
nut
start the
job.
next game attending the funeral. I think.
Also, it wasn't super surprising, but I'm very glad that Evie was on board with setting the museum on fire. It felt like I had Shadowmere with me for that plan.
Shadowmere's always on board for setting stuff on fire. It's fine.
That's
That's true.
That's the not surprising part.
That and cults, apparently.
Yeah.
IRL and in-game.
And I also love that Andy truly saved the day with a fucking tire repair kit. Essentially, it's like, yeah, I could change a tire. We're good. Don't love that nearly killed us all though. That was terrible. Don't do that again.
Yeah.
Please. Or you won't get in the will. That's it. That's me. Hey, I guess no. Move on to if we're reverse ordering it. I don't remember the original order, so I think that was Andy.
Yes, it was. I take, and I said this before we went live, I take zero responsibility for terrible rolls because my dice are from Meeples and Dragons, so it's going to be Saz and John in the chat. I'm sure all their other dice are fantastic, so please go look at their store and support them. They deserve it. But I had a lot of fun just having shenanigans happen and end up telling a story. I feel like I'm being able to bounce off a bit more things now that I understand how the game works. So I'm looking very much to seeing what kind of stats we're going to get and what kind of mysteries are going to happen next and just how fucky it's all going to get because the moon's haunted.
Moon's haunted.
So, yes. Yeah, thank you very much for having me on, and I shall throw it over to the lovely Evie Ward or Shadowmere.
Thank you. I am Shadowmere, and yes, playing Evie this evening. I think I'll start off with my favorite bit for this evening. I really thought, and I'm calling it Finlay's fortuitous forethought in bringing the tire repair kit. So that was, I think, genius, absolute genius. So that was the best bit, I think. And just the game in general, I thought it was really fun and like piecing bits together and going, oh shit, that's what it was. So I thought that was really good. Otherwise, you can find me over on the Meeples and Dragons channel. Yes, they sell dice. Every fortnight on a Saturday, I'm in the Radiant Shadows campaign run by Ham, the DM. He's Kiwi, so but he's pretty cool. And come join me there. Otherwise, I'll hand over to the delightful Bonnie Doyle.
I thought tonight was a really good game. There was kind of before we went live, there was almost a bit of I don't know what you call it, preemptive or foreshadowing that maybe one of us may die, and it never happened, and that was good. So I was, we were always on edge, I think, the whole time going, is this the point where we have a battle? Are we going to die here? And I also enjoyed how much or how little we disregarded a poor dying man just to get information out of him. That poor man. I did enjoy that. We are a cruel, callous bunch, and it was a great story. More.
But at the same time, he felt it was really important to pass the knowledge on so that people could be saved.
Delirium.
Lucky for us.
Lack of oxygen.
Yeah.
What a hero.
You would think those things too.
Smoke inhalation will do things to a man.
Yeah, smoke inhalation was the downfall. So basically, I just love that you guys are taking chances and thinking about things and putting pieces together. There's heaps of different ways in a scenario you can put pieces together based on where your character's at spiritually as well as physically, what you have uncovered, what you haven't uncovered. And I think you guys did really well. Like I said before, I'm always going to have an option in there where you can Scooby-Doo it without combat and stuff like that. And you guys came across that. And so I was really happy that you guys thought out of the box. Most of the times when I run this for people who are just starting out, they run in, especially if they're from a D&D background, let's kill the bad guy and TPK. So the fact that you guys were willing to actually look at it from a non-combat perspective, very proud.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Yay.
Yay.
I'll do some extra production outro stuff specifically because there's a bunch of shit happening over the next couple of weeks that's really cool. First version of that though, Katrina, you're doing things soon. Would you like to explain, please, what that is that you're doing?
I'm talking about an upcoming show that we have.
Yeah.
Which is a role-playing game, and we are going to hold said role-playing game. Wait, get out of it. I'll just wrangle a cat. I should have had this ready to go. Hey,
it's fine. Would you like to know what it's called? No, you got it.
Is a Ballarat Heritage Weekend, and we have this wonderful online game on the Thursday the 22nd. Promethean will be joining me, and we're going to it is set in 1890. It is based on Call of Cthulhu. I don't have the show name in front of me.
A Midsummer Night's Darkness.
There it is. And if you want to watch that, head on over to either the Ballarat Heritage Festival site or Tales from Rat City, which is a historical podcast that I help run, where we tell the true icky tales of Ballarat in the goldfields.
Or more specifically, that Eventbrite link as well. Is where you can
Eventbrite as well.
Wire yourself in the flesh or digital ticket to see that happen.
Correct.
Which will be super cool. Thanks. What was the other things? Hey, if you're not aware of Emily's existence, go check out Hexes and Vexes, please, on Twitch and all of the social medias ever. I'm not sure if the expression of interest for the fun little new Hexes and Vexes project is up and out in the world or not, but it's going to be very fucking cool. In character interviews and character creation conversations. Super fucking cool. Check out Hexes immediately. You just posted about this, did you? Excellent. Great. Love that. There you go. Go look at the fucking things, please. Another thing that is happening soon, and I want to say off the top of my head, May 17 and 18, I feel like is approximately accurate. Split the Party TV will be running from Fortress in Melbourne. Another superhero streamers charity event. These motherfuckers raised like 17 grand last year or something in that region.
Nice
I
one.
feel like it was
a ridiculous amount, yeah.
Right? And truly so many of the people here before you and those of you in chat are violently aware were involved in kind of hitting that, and that's fucking outstanding. Ideally, it'd be cool to see him hit like 20k this year. Maybe then Twitch will fucking feature them in their promos about cool people doing cool charity shit, as opposed to no, we're not going to get too mean about it because that's unfair. But hey, Twitch, if you're listening, Clancy, motherfucker, listen to me. Split the Party TV. Raised so much money for charity. You fuck. Give them some time and attention.
On that note, I believe nominations for the Crit Awards are still open, and you can nominate people who do charity fundraisers.
Correct.
In that too. So
for a small number of days.
Keep them in mind.
You can nominate people for a whole bunch of shit, including
totally
actual plays. Don't fucking waste time nominating us. Find like cool people doing cool shit.
There's like 35 categories or something crazy. So look through them and have a think for sure.
Correct. And there's a bunch of a large number of those categories are for obviously the production of actual games. There's some cool fucking Aussie and New Zealander creators out there. So if you've come across something, and I think the period of time that nominations can go in for is all the way back through to, I want to say, a ridiculously long time ago. By which I think I mean 2023 specifically.
Oh,
I think they've.
I thought it was only 12 months.
Yeah, so if you've come across something cool, I think for this round specifically, they've bumped it open a bit. Fucking, give those folks some love that do cool shit that you have enjoyed. I think is a really cool idea. I think that's it. There's truly so much cool stuff happening. We're all collectively going to be talking about it for periods of time. So feel free to hang out and have those chats with us, I guess will be the thing. We're going to go raid. We're going to go raid Judge RPG, who is one of those aforementioned Aussie creators, doing mostly the stuff that I've seen as D&D stuff, and some video games. I think it's the latter that they're doing currently, but here we are. We're going to go do that. Thanks for hanging out. It's been a fun time. Tabby, you're in charge of the rest of the awkward goodbye section before I hit the button.
But I am awkward. So, like, if you have awkward goodbye sections with an awkward person, then it makes it like double awkward. It's
Or
like
pencils.
awkward with disadvantage, and that's totally just not fair.
Yeah, everyone go be double awkward with Judge, please.
I'll just like bring in awkward next time. Oh.
Nice work. That was fun.